Here I am, going over some problems to help you through this holiday break. If you hear any little voices, those are my daughters. If you hear other weird voices, they're on a leap pad. So be aware that's going on. So you could do one a day, you could do a couple a day, you could do them all the night before we start school. So I read my directions here. First, you should try the problem, so pause it. And then I'm going to be factoring. So when I look at this, I have x to the fourth, and I have x squared, and then I just have a number. So I can't factor anything out. So now I'm just looking to see, can I reduce this any further? Whoops, daisy. So I have to think two numbers that would multiply to get 27, add to get negative 12. So first, I can bring up my x to the fourth into x squared and x squared. So two numbers that multiply to get 27, add to get negative 12, I could think 1 and 27, no. It's not divisible by 2, it's divisible by 3. 3 and 9, that would work. Negative 3, negative 9. Now, I can't factor this first one any farther, cannot factor it any farther, so this is completely factored for this first part. But I could think of two numbers that multiply to get negative 9, but add together to get 0, because remember there would be like a 0x there. And that would be x minus 3 and x plus 3. So this is completely factored, because all I'm asking you to review here is just how to factor. Here I'm asking you to actually solve. So first when I look at this, is there anything that I can take out? I can take out an x. So I'm going to take out an x, so that leaves me with x squared minus 12x plus 11. Now I have to see if I can factor. If I can, I should, and I can. Two numbers that multiply to get 11, but add to get negative 12. Multiply to get positive 11 would be negative 1 and negative 11. 11. So that equals 0. Now again, when you're solving anything that would be multiplying in between, that's what you said equal to 0. So I have x equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0, and x minus 11 equals 0. So my final answer would be x is equal to 0, positive 1, because I would have to add 1 to both sides here, and positive 11. So that would be my final answer. Here I'm asking you to graph. So first thing we're going to do is find my zeros. So I have x is equal to 2. So I'd set this equal to 0 and solve x equal to 2 with the multiplicity of 2, because it's happening 2 times. I have x is equal to negative 4. And since there's no number there, that happens 1. Remember, if there's no number, that's a 1. So now I'm looking for my degree. My degree here would be 3. So now I'm thinking if my degree is odd, then this would be down, up. So I'm first going to plot this x equals 2. I'm going to put a star there. X equals negative 4. I'm going to put a point. I'm starting down here. And I go through any points, any stars I touch and turn around. So a graph could look something like that. And you should put arrows. If you don't have arrows, not giving you full credit. I'm asking you to solve. So first thing I want to do is set this equal to 0. So I have to add my 6x over. And then I have to, well, look, I can take out an x. So take out an x, this is x squared minus 4x plus 6. Now in my head I'm thinking, what two numbers multiply to get positive 6, so that means they should both be negative, also add to get negative 4. So negative 2 and negative 3 multiply, that would add to give me a negative 5, that doesn't work. Negative 6, negative 1, that multiplies to get positive 6, that doesn't work. This can't be factored, so what should I do? First thing I'm going to do is write down that answer right there, because remember, here's multiplying, this will be an answer. Now, my a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 4, and c is equal to 6. Opposite b, plus or minus the square root. B squared minus 4, a, c, all over 2a. So I'm going to start simplifying this. So now this would be equal to 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 8 over 2. My factor tree. 4 and 2, 2 and 2. I'm going to circle and cross one out. So to write this problem, I have 4 plus or minus This 2 right here gets out. Here's a negative, so I'm going to have an I. And what's left inside is this 2 right here over 2. I'm looking at my heart. That's a funky heart, but they all have a 2 in common. So I can do 2 plus or minus. You do not have to write that 1, but you can if you so wish, over 2. Not, just kidding. Nope. 1. You don't have to have that 1. So this would be my final answer for solving. So this next problem is asking, is x minus 3 a factor? So I have to divide to see if it's a factor. I can either choose, since there's no number right out in front here, I could choose either synthetic or I could choose long division. I'm going to do synthetic. I, again, personally find it much easier. So first I'm going to find my 0. So x equals 3. So that's what you put in your box. I have 1 with x cubed, 2 with x squared, negative 6 with x to the first. Remember, 3, 2, 1, nothing. Shoop. You always bring down that first number. Multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. You add here 5, 15, 9, 27, 37. So if this degree was 3, that means this degree would be 2. So my answer would be x squared plus 5x plus 9 plus 37 over x minus 3, whatever you're dividing by. Is this a factor? No. So sad. Why? Because it has a remainder, because of this number right here. Here I have to long divide because there's a number right here. I have to long divide. So I have 2x minus 2, and I'm going to divide 6x cubed plus 2x squared. So 3, 2, 1, a number. So again, the first thing you're looking at is how can I match the 2 so it looks like 6. So that'd be timesing by a 3. I have 1x here, but I need a total of 3, so I need 2 more x's. You multiply that by what you are dividing by. So this becomes a 6x cubed. Oops. Now these two cancel. This becomes an 8x squared, and I bring everything else down. Now look, how can I match this 2 so it looks like 8? Well, I have to multiply by a 4. I have 1x, but I need 2, so I need another x. So I multiply that. This becomes my 8x squared minus 8x. Switch your sign. These two cancel. Negative 4 plus 8 would give me positive 4x. And yet again, what 2 times what gives me 4 would give me 2. I have an x, I need an x, so I don't need anything else there. So 2x minus 2. So 4x minus 4. Switch your sign. These two cancel. This becomes 14. My final answer would be everything that I used to match. Plus, I will have a remainder here. My very final answer would be 3x squared plus 4x plus 2 plus 14 over 2x minus 2. Done. Here I have to solve, okay? So the first thing I'm looking at, I have 2, 1. I can't take anything out. What do they have in, or two numbers that multiply get negative 8, add to get negative 5. 4 and 2, that won't work. I also have 8 and 1, that won't work. Quadratic formula time. So a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 5, c is equal to negative 8. Opposite b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So that gives me 5 plus or minus the square root. Again, you're just doing this portion right here. You don't actually take the square root. Don't take the square root. 57 57 is a prime number. If you try to do 57 times anything else, it would get 3 times 19. Well, 19 is definitely prime, and 19 and 3 are not pairs. So this right here is my final answer. Dividing. I'm going to synthetically divide. My 0 here is 3 again. How do you know what goes into that little box? You find your 0 of whatever you're dividing by. Then I look at x cubed has a negative 3. X squared has a negative 2. X, there's not an x there, so I have to include a 0. And then my number. Again, this is x cubed, x squared, there's no x, so that's a 0, and then my number. Bring down the first one. You multiply, negative 3 times 3 give me a negative 9. You add, it's going to be negative 11. Multiply negative 33, and you add. Multiply negative 99, and you add. Definitely not a factor. I started with cubed, so this would be my negative 3x squared. You're taking out an x. You're factoring out. You're dividing out an x. I have a remainder of negative 85, so that goes over x minus 3. Is this a factor? I have a number in front of my x right here, so I'm going to have to do long division. It's 3x minus 2. And I'm dividing 3x to the fourth. 4, 3, 2, 1, my number. Okay, so that's my long thing I'm dividing. How do I match? What do I multiply 3 by to get 3? Just 1. I have 1x, but I need a total of 4, so I need 3 more x's. And this becomes... So this gives me a 3x to the fourth minus 2x cubed. I changed my sign. Minus, plus. These two cancel. These two also cancel. So what I have left is negative 6x squared plus 22x minus 12. Again, when I look at this, 3 and negative 6. So I need a negative 2. I have 1x, but I need a total of 2. I need 1 more x. So I multiply negative 2 times 3. That's why I get the negative 6. X times x is x squared. Negative 2 times negative 2 gives me positive 4x. Yep. I have to make sure to switch my signs. These cancel. This becomes 18x. Minus 12. What do we multiply 3 by so that I can get 18 would give me a 6. And I already have my x. So this becomes 18. X minus 12. Switch your signs. Cancel, cancel. So then my answer would be my x cubed minus 2x plus 6. And since there is no remainder, it would be yes. By golly, by golly. You guys didn't know, but I just did this without recording it, so I have to do it again. First, I'm finding my zeros. X equals negative 6. That happened 2 times, so a multiplicity of 2. Second 0, x equals positive 1. Multiplicity of 2 because it happens twice. If you have no idea where I'm getting these numbers, you should probably go rewatch one of the videos. My degree here is 4. I'm adding these two together. So my end behavior is up, up. So when I graph this, negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, star it, multiplicity of 2. Positive 1, star it, multiplicity of 2. Starting up, so I start up here. Anywhere I see a star, you turn around. Turn around. So it looks something like that. First thing when I'm starting to solve this, I want to make sure to set this equal to 0. These are my like terms. Cubed, cubed. So I have 3x to the fourth, b plus 6x cubed minus 72x squared equals 0. I'm solving. What do these all have in common? What could I take out or divide out? I can take out a 3. They're all divisible by 3. I can also take out an x squared. They all have an x squared. This becomes x squared. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 72 divided by 3 is 24. So check to see if you can factor anything out here. I can. Two numbers that multiply to get 24, negative 24. Add together to get 2. 2, 12. Again, you do not have to write these all out like this. Some of you are able to do this in your head, and that would be just fine. Since this is a negative, one of these have to be negative. So my 2 winner chicken dinners make negative 4 and positive 6. They multiply to get negative 24, add together to get 2. Remember, wherever you see a multiplication, that's what you set equal to 0. My answer is x is equal to 0, 4, negative 6. First and foremost, I'm going to move these right on over. That's with my x squared, so make sure you combine like terms. 2x to the 4th plus 12x squared plus 16 equals 0. I'm solving. I can't, nope, I can take out a 2. So this would be x to the 4th plus 6x squared plus 8. Again, solving. This 2 doesn't have an x with it, so when I solve it, that doesn't really matter to me. But now I have to think 2 numbers that multiply to get 8, add together to get 6 would be 2 and 4. And since I'm solving, unlike the very first question from this video, since I'm solving, this is being multiplied, but there's no x, so that's not going to give me an answer. So I'm going to do x plus 2, x squared plus 2, I should say x squared plus 4. So I have x squared is equal to, I subtract my 2, take the square root. What should you always have with the square root? Positive, negative. It's negative square root, so I'm going to have an I square root 2. So I'm going to have to add or subtract the 4. Take the square root. This should have a positive, negative 2i. Square root of 4 is 2, and negative 1 is the I. So I have these two answers. Solve. You know what? I could try to do guess and check here or try to do some stuff. I'm just going to go straight to the quadratic formula. Either I'm going to have to simplify it until it gets to be a final answer, or else it will have an answer with a square root. I don't know. Let's see. So we have opposite b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4 ac over 2 a 5 plus or minus the square root of 1 over 6. Well, by golly, this can be simplified to 5 plus or minus the square root of 1 is 1. So since I took the square root, this is where I have my two separate answers. Now again, you could have factored this from the beginning and still gotten your two answers. So I have 5 plus 1 divided by 6. 5 subtract 1 divided by 6. So this is equal to 6 over 6, which is 1. This is equal to 4 over 6. 2/3. So one thing you could have done right from the get-go, you could have factored this to be 3x minus 2 and x minus 1. And if you guessed and checked it, this would give you negative 3x, negative 2x, so that gives me 5x, and then solved it. Either way, these should be your two answers. Divide synthetically, or you could do it long division. I'm going to do synthetic, so I have my 2 here, because that's my 0 again. Find your 0. So I have x to the 4th. I do not have x cubed. 4, 3, 2. I don't have x, so I have one number. Again, if I were to write this out, x to the fourth, I don't have an x cubed, minus 10x squared. I don't have an x plus number. So you have to include these two zeros in this problem. So you bring down the first one. So this is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Add 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Add negative 6. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. Add negative 12. 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. Add 0. So again, I started with x to the fourth. So this would be my x cubed. So I have x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x minus 12. I don't have a remainder, so there should be no fraction there. I have to divide here. I have to do long division because there's a 2 right there. There's a 2 right there. So I wrote it all out because it took a while. One thing you might again look at your degree. Make sure that it goes 1 down. So I have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, a number. So I put 0 in place of that number. So again, you match. Multiply 2, 2, that's a 1. I have 1x. I need 5, so I need 4 more x's. So this becomes 2x to the fifth plus 5x to the fourth. Switch your signs. Both of these two things cancel, so I'm left with 6x cubed plus 11x squared minus 10x plus 0. I should say right now with the 0 part, you might not need to write in that 0 since it's the last number, but you should always write in the middle terms. So 2 to 6, give me a 3. I have 1x, but I need total of 3, so that'd be x squared. Again, you're matching your leading numbers. If you're unsure where I'm getting this or the steps, you should make sure to watch the videos or go back to your white sheet of paper they've given you. Switch your sign. Cancel. This becomes negative 4x squared minus 10x plus 0. Again, I might not need that 0. So 2 and negative 4. Well, look at your leading numbers. Will give me a negative 2. I have 1x, but I need 2 x's. This negative 4x squared gives me negative 10x. Switch your sign. Cancel, cancel. 0 is kind of irrelevant, so I have nothing left over. So here is my answer. X to the fourth plus 3x squared minus 2x. Wham, bam, thingy, bam. Thank you for watching this video and for reviewing before 2018. And if you're wondering what all that noise again was in the background, it was my beautiful daughters playing on their leap pads. Some puppies or something like that. Have a great, grand, wonderful rest of 2017, man.